Welcome to the Transparent FX Academy. I'm Nick and I'm a top author training you with over 190k reputation points. In this video, I'll speak about GBPUSD. And as usual, to keep the video as educational as possible, first I'll cover the technical aspect for this market. Then we will be moving to the order flow by looking at the commitment of traders, which is what the big players in the market are doing and how they're moving and shifting their orders, which you see right here. And by the end of the video, by using the combination of these two different types of analysis, we will try to understand where we have the highest probabilities for the next potential move here for this pair. So this is definitely a video you do not want to miss. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Starting here from the monthly time frame, what we can see is that we have a market which at the moment is approaching a very strong monthly supply and resistance area. In fact, from here, all this previous rejection to the downside was created. At the moment, the market has entered the exact same zone, so there is a good probability to see a potential reversal away from the supply and resistance area, and for this market to be rejected to the downside, or at least for this market to show some signs of weakness as new sellers step into this market. Because what we know is that previous levels of supply and resistance, as we can see also right here, if we have a very strong level of supply and resistance in the past from which massive rejections to the downside were created, and the market then climbs back into those levels, new sellers tend to enter those markets at those levels, pushing price to the downside again. So there is definitely the possibility that this same scenario could play out again inside of this strong supply and resistance area. So let's keep all of this in mind and drop down on the weekly time frame. From a weekly perspective, what we can notice here is a perfect inversion of trend. We had a market which clearly was in a downtrend. We were having the creation of lower lows and lower highs. Then we had the inversion to the creation of higher highs and higher lows. The last move was the creation of a new weekly higher high, which in this case is a higher high into that supply and resistance area that we have previously identified on the monthly time frame, meaning that there is good probabilities of seeing institutional shorting of GBPUSD inside of this area, which could definitely push this price lower. That is definitely possible. Dropping down on the daily time frame, what do we see? Now, from a daily perspective, before we dig deeper into what we have here on the technical side, I want to first speak about what we have when it comes to the commitment of traders, so what the big players in the market are doing. Now, if we're looking at the data for the GBP, we have to keep in mind that we are already looking at the data for GBPUSD because all currencies on the spot are traded against the USD. So if we see here that net positions went from 17.3k to 6.5k, so essentially they got decreased by more than 10k, this means that institutions were moving to the bearish side of GBPUSD. We can see in fact how it's already 2 reports in a row, which they add thousands of shorts. We can see 4.7k shorts added just with the last report on GBPUSD from an institutional perspective, and 6,000 longs getting closed. So institutions are adding shorts and closing longs on GBPUSD, therefore making it weaker. So let's keep all of this in mind and move back to the chart. And by the way, if you still haven't, make sure that you join my free Telegram channel, which you'll find linked in description, so you never miss new updates. Now back to the analysis. So in a situation like this, we definitely have overextended to the upside market. We can see how the market has already created a new daily higher high, but in all this move to the upside into that supply and resistance zone, there is no correction. At some point, every market needs a correction before potentially even continuing higher. But anyway, a market that just goes straight up at some point becomes overextended and needs some red candles, especially if we are inside of that supply and resistance zone and institutions are adding shorts and closing longs. That increases the probabilities of a potential reversal lower. So In a situation like this, what would I expect? Well, as my students know very well, trading is reactive and not predictive. The monthly, weekly, and daily time frames combined with the COT data, those are the best time frames when it comes to the directional aspect of the market. However, when it comes to identifying early shifts in the trend of a market, the best time frames for that are the intraday time frames, so 4 hour and lower. Therefore, what I would expect is that if this market would shift from an intraday bullish to a bearish market, I wouldn't be surprised to see a potential reversal to the downside away from this strong supply and resistance zone. That definitely wouldn't surprise me. Now, if you want to learn more, I really recommend that you go and check out my website, which is linked in the description, because what you see me share here on YouTube is actually just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, if you head over to the website in the description, you will have the possibility to join the best trading program on the planet. You will gain access to all the courses ranging from the very basics of charting all the way to the more advanced topics like building automated trading strategies using the MQL4 programming language, building portfolios of strategies using quantitative finance tools like the Quant Analyzer, and much more. You will have the possibility, in fact, to gain access to the trading station software with the Telegram notifications integration, one-on-one private mentoring directly with me, the COT data software, which often you see me use directly in my YouTube videos, on all my platforms actually. And if you scroll down, you will see that you also have the possibility to get the integration. So all my EAs, which you find here presented one by one directly on the website. And you also have the possibility to gain access to my live trading show. So I live stream of all the trades on my live account as they're opened, closed, trade, and obviously managed. And if you continue to scroll down, you will see that you have the possibility to join just after here the testimonials and gain automatically access with the email and password that you will create during the checkout process. So I really suggest that at least you go and check it out. The link is in the description and I will see you in it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to click on the like button. Also, let me know in the comments below any new pairs that you would like me to cover in my next videos. Also, any questions you have, leave them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss new updates, and I will see you in my next video.